This was spectacular. Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage and West Side Story was just released this last weekend. Unfortunately, we here in Austria had another lockdown, so I wasn't able to make an early review. But I'm super happy that I was now able to watch it because I absolutely loved it and definitely want to recommend it to anyone who is thinking about giving it a chance. It was directed by Steven Spielberg, who once again demonstrates why he's one of the best filmmakers of all time. Obviously, the movie is always referred to as a remake of the 1961 classic and 10-time Oscar-winning Robert Wise version. And you can certainly regard it as one, but if the source material wasn't originally a movie, I find it always more accurate to just call it a new adaptation. Before the 1961 film, there was already the original 1957 Broadway musical that was conceived by Jerome Robbins with music by Leonard Bernstein, lyrics by the just recently deceased Stephen Sondheim, and a book by Arthur Lawrence. Spielberg's new version is very close to the 1961 film because that film was very close to the original musical. Though there were differences, and Spielberg's film also has differences to the old movie by being closer to the original musical in certain aspects. For example, by putting the famous I Feel Pretty song after the tragic rumble, while the 1961 film put it before that. Now honestly, I'm really no expert when it comes to West Side Story. I have never seen a stage production of it and it has been probably almost 10 years since I saw the Robert Wise film. The minor point I'm trying to make here is that I'm really not someone who's in that screw all remakes camp, especially if it's something that wasn't originally a film anyway. With that being said, Steven Spielberg's version is absolutely spectacular, rousing, contagious and just super emotional. Just 2 or 3 sentences about the story in case someone has never heard about it. It's basically a modern Romeo and Juliet story, only that modern is now also the past, because Spielberg decided to keep the original 1950s setting. It's about 2 teenage street gangs of different ethnic backgrounds, the Jets, consisting of white Americans, and their rivals, the Puerto Rican Sharks. Both gangs claim a small neighborhood in the titular Upper West Side of New York their own, and in the middle of that conflict are 2 young lovers. Tony, in this version played by Ansel Elgort, and Maria, played by Rachel Zegler. And that's really all you have to know. 2021's West Side Story has a beautiful, nostalgic, classic musical flair and it gorgeously reconstructs its period setting. But it also still completely works today because of its timeless story, which especially nowadays seems super timely, which is of course very unfortunate. It's a story about people who should actually team up and fight the system together, but instead they fight each other because of their ethnicity and the territory they believe belongs to them. This has been an absolute passion project for Steven Spielberg, who long dreamed about making his own version of West Side Story, a musical he has fond memories of from when he was a young child. Spielberg is one of the few great directors who explored many different genres and created wonderful films in them. Horror with Jaws, sci-fi with Close Encounters of the Third Kind, E.T., AI or Minority Report, action-adventure with the Indiana Jones and Jurassic Park movies, biopics with Lincoln, dramas with The Color Purple, Schindler's List and several more, or World War II films with Saving Private Ryan. And now, already in his 70s, he has made his very first musical. And from what he achieved with his team, it's crystal clear that he knows exactly what a big classic Hollywood musical like this needs. There's an energy and a magic, and it will just immerse and enchant you for its runtime of a little bit more than 2.5 hours. It's certainly a long movie, pretty much exactly like the 1961 version if you consider the slightly longer closing credits. But if you're into musicals, you want to spend all this time with the glorious song and dance sequences and this classic story full of big emotions. Spielberg knows how to tell a story like this and how to bring those musical numbers to life. And my god, are they alive! The cinematography by Janusz Kaminski, who already won 2 Oscars, one for Saving Private Ryan and one for Schindler's List, is phenomenal. I was glued to the screen and in awe about the way Spielberg and Kaminski created some true movie musical magic here. The staging, the dance choreography, how the camera movements are interrupted and motivated by the movements of our characters. How so many times everything is beautifully captured in these long, continuous wide shots that really let you appreciate all the things going on in the scenes, all the movements, all the bodies, all the faces, as well as the great locations. It's visually spectacular. How Spielberg uses light and shadows, it's so expressive, and all of that really lets you become a part of this world and story. How he shoots the moment in which Tony and Maria see each other for the very first time, with all the fast movements around them and only them in clear focus. Or how he and his choreographer Justin Peck make all those dance numbers come to life. Just look at the whole sequence at the police station with people jumping on top of tables, pushing each other around, and so on. There is so much kinetic energy to it. And the cast is doing a fantastic job as well, both when it comes to the dancing and of course the normal acting too. It's a big ensemble with two rival gangs, and since the actual story only really focuses on a few individuals, it's great that all the side characters have been cast with actors that really have a great screen presence. Of the main protagonists, there are two clear standouts for me. Mike Faist is absolute dynamite as Riff, the current leader of the Jets, and Rachel Zegler is fantastic as Maria. She has played the role before in stage productions of West Side Story, but this marks her very first film role and she's fantastic, especially when she is singing. Another really moving performance comes from Rita Moreno, who plays the shop owner Valentina, a part that was usually portrayed by a man. But instead of the original character Doc, they changed it to Doc's widow and also Puerto Rican Valentina, which I think is a very nice change. And it certainly adds some meta weight to it that actress Rita Moreno played the character of Anita in the 1961 movie, which makes a later scene even more powerful, because Valentina is helping Anita in a very horrible moment. So basically, she's helping out the character that she played herself 60 years ago. But it was her singing, her song in the finale, that absolutely destroyed me. In general, this film made an emotional mess out of me. The whole first half, I was hoping that the film would accumulate the weight to really hit me all the way later on. And it certainly did. This is a story about love on first sight, which can be a hard thing to sell, but in this classic musical fashion, and of course embedded in a story about racial tensions, it certainly hit home for me. Now, unfortunately, the weakest link here, and I'm certainly not the first or only one to mention this, is lead actor Ansel Elgort. He's not bad in the role. In his best moments he kind of reminded me of a very young Harrison Ford kind of guy. But he's still just a little bit bland, and he unfortunately pales in comparison to the other performers. It certainly doesn't help either that there are some sexual allegations against him that inevitably slightly influence my perception of him in this film, especially when it's a story about his character and an obviously quite younger love interest. But again, he's not bad in it, but I'm sure someone else might have elevated the film even more. So in German I'd say, Steven Spielbergs West Side Story ist pure, klassische Hollywood-Musical-Magie. Spektakuläres Emotionskino, das mich beinahe vollends umgehauen hat. I give West Side Story 9 out of 10. It's more like 8.9, but I don't do that. Alright, that's it like always. Comment below and let me know what you think about West Side Story. And also let me know what is your favorite film by Steven Spielberg. You can hit me up on Twitter, Instagram, Letterboxd and also on Patreon, simply at TheJimmyCage. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give me a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all I have to tell.